what's going on?
Okay. Not much. What's happening with you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Where are you coming out of?
I live outside of Boston.
Oh, okay, good, good. I'm here in Kansas City.
Oh, nice. I like
Yeah.
the backdrop.
Oh, thank you. I painted that. Yeah.
Nice.
It's an actual painting that's in my wife's fifth grade classroom. Yes,
Rainbow America,
I
right?
love it. Yes. So, hey, it's wonderful to meet you. And before we get into your work and your life and your very interesting trajectory, I want to know, how did you survive COVID? The last 3 years did quite a thing on all of us. How did you get through it, and how did it change you?
Well, it's interesting because Lisa and I, my business partner and I, that's when we decided to sort of immerse ourselves in the retiree experience. So we ended up interviewing 50 people over a 6-month time period.
Yeah.
So we kind of had this wonderful cadence of like, okay, we're going to connect with people over Zoom. We're going to hear their stories. We're going to work remotely. And so it really was a nice sort of reprieve for all of that. And then we also have a house on Cape Cod. So going and walking on the beach when no one's around is also a nice respite.
Oh, wow. Absolutely, it is. So let's get to the essence of what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students, career day. One of the kids looks up and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I say after you have worked all of your life, there's a thing called retirement. And the retirement is when apparently you stop working. But if you think about your life in 30-year chunks, you're going to school, you're getting a job, you're raising a family, and that's all kind of predetermined. And then you have 30 years of your life, and it's hard to know what you're going to do. So what we do is we help people sort of think about what their life is going to be and put together a plan for that last 30 years of their life.
Okay, so before we get to the previous 30 years with you, let's go back to when you were in the third grade. What was your dream growing up? What did you want to be?
What did I want to be in the third grade? I think I wanted to be a ski instructor,
Okay,
which I became.
there you go.
I did.
So what was your bread and butter? What was your career?
I worked in financial services and marketing. I worked at Fidelity for 27 years.
Isn't that a good thing to do though? I think because I'm an IT guy by day. And I think there's a level of it it's good. It's a good sector to be in, but it also makes you more self-sufficient.
It does. It does because it is about thinking about money, and we talk about money every day, which people don't talk about. Yeah, people tend to not talk about money. They tend to ignore it and pretend it's, you don't have to deal with it, especially as you think about your financial future. So I think you called it self-sufficiency.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, excellent. So talk to me a little bit about who's kind of been a hero for you in your life. Who's motivated you?
Um, let's see, who's motivated me. I had a boss once who's actually now in her encore career, and she's turned into a she's doing pottery and she's in shows. And so she always had this sort of reinvention sort of perspective. And she worked at Fidelity as well, but took a lot of different jobs. And I just watched her just take on whatever she needed to do with ease and, bravery to an extent. But it was powerful to see somebody recreating themselves throughout their career, and then now to see her in this last 30 years doing something just remarkable is was she was an inspiration to me.
So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would it be?
Who would I spend time with? Michelle Obama.
That's always number one.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is definitely number one. The Obamas are always up there on the list for
I
sure.
bet. I bet. Who else would it be? Um, hmm. I um I don't know. I just watched Wimbledon. Chris Everett. I'd love to hang out with Chris Everett. I think she's remarkable.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, you know that you answered it very well. So for what you do every day, what is the motivator? What's the gas in the tank? What gets you up and gets you moving and wanting you to accomplish things?
Yeah, I think because I always say that I understood retirement and still until I retired. And so, when you're living in a world and working in a world of retirement is about having the financial means to never work again. And then to actually experience retirement and say, okay, well, I might have the financial means to never work again, but what does my life look like? And so I think that sort of like there is a problem around retirement that no one talks about because it's always about the money, but no one talks about life in retirement. And so for us, we really are helping people think about their purpose and their passion and exploring things that they've never explored before. And we've had people who've gone through our program who are now they started their business because we tapped into their passion. And so for me, it's about really having people reframe what retirement is and then giving them the roadmap to actually go out and do something that's new and exciting and different for them and not just sort of an add-on to what they've done all their lives.
Think that's the thing that's hopeful about it is that there's people that really may get that breath of fresh air or latitude in retirement to say, you know what, this is what I always wanted to do. But personally, for me, when I think about retirement, I'm like, there's no way. I've been groomed my whole life to work. Like, even
Mhm.
with the regular job and other jobs, I'm a father and husband and all of those things. There's always these roles. What happens when you're told to take one of the main things that you've done your entire life and just no more? You know, I mean,
Totally.
we're regimented. We wake up, we do this. It's all part of what we are and who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that why the cool thing about the interviews that we did during COVID is we talked to 50 people. And so we found these people who had transformed in retirement, and there was a DNA to them that some people didn't have. They were used to going out and trying new things. They were risk takers, and they just sort of tapped into a passion and went off. So we've had people who were in sales, marketing, attorney, and she's now a DJ at a local radio station. And
Yeah.
she actually then met a musician and she's her agent. And she's not doing it for money, but it is kind of a job in itself, but it's sort of but she's so passionate about it that she's like, I don't need any money. I just love doing this. And
Yeah.
so that is kind of cool to see.
That is really cool. So, talk to me about what's one of your favorite client success stories?
Oh, that's easy. A woman named Mandy. So she had been in sales all of her life. She worked for Harvard Business Publishing, and she was a successful salesperson. And she was kind of at a crossroads. And so she said, I left my job thinking maybe I'll retire, maybe I'll do whatever. And we do part of our workshop is this ideation where we actually generate a lot of people. So we have people do sort of a purpose statement and then we ideate um ideas for them to explore. Well, hers was all about mentoring and I like to coach. And oh, by the way, I help my son's friends try to get jobs after they get out of college because they all seem lost. They don't know where to go. So next thing you know, so everyone was like, well, you should mentor, you should coach. And we always say we don't give people to fish, we teach them to fish. And so she had this idea that she was going to help kids out of college. And in 9 months, she launched her business called Next Up Careers. She's helping college kids, she's helping parents with their college kids. And she's, got a successful business without the constraints of working for somebody. And every time I talk to her, she is lit up and super excited and just rocking and rolling. And it's so cool to see.
So, of all of these roads you've been down in your life, there's been ups and downs, I'm sure, but you gain wisdom. Let's say you have a dream tonight, you run into the 20-year-old version of yourself. You can give that version of you a piece of advice based on what you've learned and lived in your life. What would you tell your younger version?
It's not about where you went to college. It's about being able to figure things out and develop relationships and take risks. I mean, I think this sometimes we are conditioned kids to like you have to go to good college and here's your like maybe you didn't want to be an accountant. Maybe you wanted to go off and do something else. Go try it. But I think the mentality of experimentation, especially as a 20-year-old versus I'm on the path to be XYZ, and I determined that when I was 16, seems to be maybe for some people it was great, but for me, I love that notion of I'm gonna just explore for like 5 years and figure out what I want to do versus landing in something and trying to do it for the next 30.
So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm an innovator. Um, when I worked at Fidelity, I got very involved in the design thinking lab. And so that's the methodology we use. But I love sort of pushing the envelope on thinking differently and finding new ways to do things. So I probably am not I'm accepting the status quo. I like to have a lot of fun. I like relationships, but I also like my quiet time. So I think most people know me as somebody who's pretty creative and always trying new things and carving new paths.
So if anyone out there wants to hire you, learn more about you, anything pertaining to your world, where can they go?
Thefutureofyou.com is our website.
Wonderful. I love what you're doing. This is great. Thank you for opening up. Thanks for giving us a portal into what makes you motivated and who you are. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Best of
This
luck
has
with
been
everything.
great. Okay,
Absolutely.
take care, Joe.
See you later.